Hey guys, before we start, a quick shout out to Alpha Dog Nutrition for sponsoring this podcast. Alpha Dog products are now available at dusupply.com, and you can use code ALPHADOG15 at checkout for 15% off and a credit for free shipping to try it yourself. Now let's get you to your podcast.
Welcome to my podcast, where we are going to talk about a lifestyle with dogs and threw in a few life lessons along the way. Whether you're a hound hunter, bird dog enthusiast, running setters, pointers, retrievers, or a flat-out running dog junkie, this podcast is for you. I am your host, Heath Hyatt, a certified law enforcement canine trainer with over 3 decades of personal and professional training and handling experience. It's time for me to pay it forward. So grab your leads, lace up those boots, and come and join me on this lifelong process of teaching, training, and learning. Are you looking to unlock your dog's full potential and give them the best nutrition possible for peak performance? Then look no further. Inukshuk has what you're looking for. Inukshuk's nutrient-dense formulas are crafted to keep your dog's energy high and performance top-notch. Packed with premium proteins and essential fats, Inukshuk delivers the balanced nutrition your dog needs to thrive. From hunting dogs to police canines, Inukshuk is trusted by professionals. Give your dog the power of peak performance with Inukshuk professional dog food. Merry Christmas, everybody. So when this drops, it'll be on Christmas Day, I believe. And if not, then I still want to wish you a Merry Christmas, and I hope that everybody gets to spend time with their family. I think my 2 favorite holidays are Thanksgiving and Christmas. I enjoy being with my family and around my family, and I enjoy 4th of July, but I enjoy 4th of July because we go camping every year with a group of friends, which is pretty much the guys that we bear hunt with. We go on Memorial Day and we go 4th of July. And I enjoy that atmosphere. Of course, I enjoy being in outdoors, but it's just enjoyable. I love that time of year, but I do think Christmas is probably my favorite holiday because of family. Thanksgiving's right there with it. So, and the food. I love to eat. Can't you tell? But I love to eat, and I love being around family. And it's fall. Thanksgiving, when it's Thanksgiving, it's the week before bear season, so that's coming in. So that adds another layer of excitement to it. But Christmas is definitely my favorite. So I'm going to tell you a story about the Christmas bear. And I've talked about it a little bit on the podcast, so you may have heard it. But I'm going to go back over it because it's that time of year. It's time to be thankful. And I posted a picture last year with me, and at the time, the little 7-8-month-old pup, Sassy, and she's sitting right there with me. And you heard me talk about it. But let's just go through the story, okay? So Maddie is with her mom on Christmas Day, and Chelsea's kids are with their dad. So she asked me, "What do you want to do?" And me being me, I'm like, "I want to go hunting," right? I mean, on Christmas Day, how many people's in the woods? It's pretty much like you have the woods to yourself. And I know there are some people that are out there, but for the most part, you're not going to run into anybody. And I'm like, today I'm just going to I called it the B team last year. So the B team. So I had Houdini and Hart, who were 3, turning 3, not 3 yet. Yeah, they weren't 3 yet. And I think I had Axe and Attica, who were not 2 yet. And I had Sassy and Rogue. And Sassy was 7-8 months old. I'd have to go back and look. and Rogue was about a year and a half. He was just a little bit younger than Axe and Attica. That's the A litter. So we decide we're going to go hunting, or I decided. She asked me, and I decided. Easy, right? Easy decision. No kids. We had already taken care of all of our family events. My sister does like Christmas Eve, and my mom does Christmas Eve. So we did go to my dad's that evening, even though we had already been with him, and we had went to her parents on Christmas Eve. So Christmas Eve, we did a lot of running. And so we had that out of the way. Let me just make that clear. I wasn't missing family dinner, okay? So decided we was going to go hunting. I decided to take the B team. And, it's December 25th. Bear season's starting to wrap up. It's not easy to find bear, right? That time of year, it's starting to get a little tough. We're just a week away from it being over. And so I go into this one area, and the weather's not bad. It wasn't too cold to put the dogs on top of the truck. And I know a lot of people have the rig holes and stuff, and they don't even have to get them out of the truck. But I decided to go ahead and rig Houdini, Attica, and Hart. So I start up the mountain road, and I'm literally just tooling along 8-10 miles an hour. I'm not going very fast. And I don't know, we get a couple miles in, and Houdini opens first, and Hart and Attica were literally right behind him. And it's a pretty good strike, and I'm like, okay, we'll see what we're doing here. And guys, still, these dogs are getting ready. Houdini and Hart's getting ready to turn 4 this year, and Axe and Attica will be 3 up into the spring, and Sassy won't be 2 until spring this year. So, and they're still making mistakes, right? Like, they're still making mistakes. I still don't trust Houdini 100%. Hart seems to be the one out of the bunch and Attica. Hart and Attica seem to be the ones that are pretty consistent. I'm not saying they're perfect. They're consistent. So anyway, they open, and I'm like, all right, it's the moment of truth. We're going to find out or we're not. So I put them down, and they go up the ridge right-handed, which is off the passenger side. And they open, and I get back to drop the tailgate, and I guess I get Axe and Rogue and Sassy in. And I don't remember which order I put them in, but that was the 6 dogs I had. And they take off, and they're basically running parallel to the road. So I get in the truck, and I'm just easing up, and they cross in front of me, but I miss them. But I seen Sassy cross, and Sassy is a chop mouth dog all the way. If she's trailing, she's chopping. If she's running, she's chopping. It don't matter. She's yo, 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 yo. No matter what she's doing, that's what she is. So I see her cross the road, and they go down into the valley, and they hit a really good area. And I get out at that point, and I'm walking the road trying to find a track. There wasn't a lot of mud and stuff there, but I was like, maybe I can see where they pushed the leaves up or where it went over the bank. I could see something. Well, I couldn't find anything. So they had turned, and they're running parallel to my left hand, which is the driver's side at this point, and they're running up the valley. So we ease up the valley, and we get around to a high point. We're just sitting there listening. And they went up, and they made a loop. And I know I'm drawing this with my hands, and you guys can't see it because I talk with my hands all the time. But so they go up, and they make a loop, and they come back in, and they cross a ridge. And about the time they top out on this ridge, they pop up treed. Well, I can hear them, so I'm hearing this, and I'm watching my iPad, and I'm seeing I heard that they were treed way before it popped up on the iPad. There's a delay there. And I'm like, yeah, they're treed. They're treed. So I give them a few minutes. Everything pops up. Everything's treed. And they're like, oh, okay. So where they're at wasn't a horrible walk. I mean, literally probably wasn't 500-600 yards and had to cross a creek. So I drive up to a good spot to park, and like I'm beaming at this point. And I don't even know if they've got it, right? But I'm like, you know what? Them dogs just had a couple mile chase. I'd say it was 3 miles, maybe less, but 3 miles would be a guess. I've got all the young dogs. You know, I left Spook and Kate at home, and I was tickled. I was just tickled what had happened. So we take off, bust a brush. We get in there. We have to pull the ridge that they were getting ready to top out. And I come around, I go up in behind them and come around to the top and come down on them. And, you know, the bear's sitting there. I mean, it's a decent bear, 150 pounds or so. And all the dogs are treeing. You know, Sassy's sitting back up on the bank, and you've heard me talk about her. You know, her treeing ability is not where I would like it to be, but she was sitting there. She was barking. Again, she's 7-8 months old at the time. But so we tie everything up. We take pictures, and I'm literally sitting there with Sassy right beside her. Like, here's why I did what I did. I was sitting beside her, and every time she would bark, I would praise her, pet her, right? And when she wasn't barking, I didn't do anything. And when she'd start barking, I'd pet her, talk her up. Good girl, good girl. That's some of my canine training coming in there, right? So I sat there, and finally she just come over and leaned up on me and throwed her head up. And I took that picture of her doing that. But I was thinking about how, and y'all hear me use the word blessed all the time, and I truly am, that I was able to go out, and it didn't matter what day it was. I was able to go out with my younger dogs, and I know a lot of people, you know, can take their 3-year-olds and can continuously catch bear. We'll talk about that in a minute. So while I was sitting there with Sassy and kind of reflecting on the overwhelming feeling that I had, and why I say I felt blessed. And if you break it down, let me just give you some food for thought. So our December season in Virginia, okay, we have 30 days to hunt. 30 days. Can't hunt on Sundays, hunt Monday through Saturday from whatever the first Monday is until the first Saturday in January. If you take away the weather, because there's going to be a couple days, if not more, depending on how the weather is that month, but there's going to be a couple of days that it's just no good to hunt. Pouring down rain, wind blowing, you know, snowing, whatever the circumstances may be, that's going to diminish a couple of those 30 days. So let's just take away 5. And then for the working folk out there, not everybody is blessed enough to be able to take off a month to hunt 30 days. And then you add family and other obligations into it. You know, you keep dwindling away at that 30, that number 30. So every opportunity that I get to be in the woods is a blessing. And just that day, because it was Christmas, I didn't have any obligations because we had taken care of it. I was just sitting there, and that's the things that was going through my mind is, you know, I may get to hunt 20 days, okay? 20 days out of 30. Well, let's dig a little deeper into that. As a houndsman, you feed dogs for 365 days a year. 24/7, 365. It's your responsibility to feed them, to take care of their veterinarian needs. You know, Lyme's disease has got so prevalent where I'm at, and I hear about it all across the country, but you start investing into that type of preventative, no matter what you use, dog pens and dog houses and dog boxes, gas, snacks, right? You can't go hunting without snacks. Just, you think about the financial impact that hound hunting has on you. And when you feed dogs for 365 days, every opportunity that you get, especially when you're lucky enough to actually have a good day, because we have a lot of bad days, right? Have a good day. Got to hear most of the race, got to actually, watch the young dogs work without the elders, as I call it, right? And they did their job. And just sitting there on top of that ridge, looking down, and just that kind of the thoughts going through my head, I felt very, very fortunate that I had the opportunity, and we had such a great day. And I don't think people maybe take that into consideration enough. I mean, it's, that's one of the things that we love about bear hunting is the chaos, right? Like, it's 0 to 100 in just a second. And, things get exciting and everything's a rush, adrenaline dump. But being able to take the time, no pressure, no nothing, just sit down and think about it. It was a great day. It was a great day to be in the woods, and it was even better that it was Christmas and it actually had more meaning to it because I was able to sit there and reflect on it. But for me and that group of dogs, I was really, really just kind of taking it in. I was sitting there, I was letting the dogs do their thing. I spent several minutes petting every dog, praising them, giving them some loving, and just enjoying what had just happened, because that was a first, right? That was a first with that group and not having the old dogs there. So that was a great Christmas present for me. And since then, those dogs have progressed, and you can take the 3-year-olds, you can take the 2-year-olds, and you can catch bear. Now, can I say that I'm doing it every time? No, I cannot. That would be a lie. And then you got Sassy, and now we've added Lady into the mix. So that's kind of the 6 that I hunted in training season. And I really, my goal after training season was to be able to take Lady and Sassy and catch bear with them. And that would have been the one. Neither one of them's 2-year-old yet. In fact, Lady's 1.5 years was to catch a bear or two with just them during December. That was my goal. But because Lady decided to come into heat, put her out of commission, and Sassy's, I say her feet being tore up. It's really the back of her pads where it meets the hairline, where they got in the rocks and just run them to death. But I haven't got to hunt her that much either because of that situation. I got to hunt her good the first week, and I guess that was the second Saturday. Yeah, wait, when? No, it was the first Saturday, I guess. Yeah, the first Saturday. So, she's been laid up for 6 days now. But anyway, I'm sitting on that ridge and I'm just soaking it in. And, it was just a time for me to reflect and be thankful that I'm able to do the things that I love to do, which is being in the outdoors, more so being with my dogs, the young group of dogs that I had at that day. And, you know, it could have been a different scenario and not worked out. It was being in the right place at the right time with the right bear, right? Like, it made a short run, it treed, it stayed, no issues. And yeah, I sat there. We sat at that tree for a long time, just, enjoying our morning, enjoying the day, enjoying the dogs and nature. So it was a blessing. We have built off of that. We have continued to build off of that. And I couldn't be happier that day. That was a great day to be in the woods, and it was a great Christmas. So that's the Christmas bear story. This season, oh boy. I know we talked about it on the previous podcast. I'm not going to get into that, but it's been tough. Like, a lot of miles logged between me and the dogs. They're not, you're having to hunt for them. Normally it's not this tough, but this year it is. Got to spend a lot of time in the woods. You got to put a lot of boot leather down. So what day was this? I think it was last week. Yeah. Ariel and Taylor was in, and we were at the truck discussing what strategy we were going to do and who was going where and doing what. And I had put all of my garb on. So I had my tracker and my radio. And I told you I'd run off and left my water bottle that first week. And that was a mistake. And I made sure not to do that again. So I had all of my stuff. I had my chest rig. I had my couple of snacks that I carry, and I had all the stuff packed in it. I let the dogs out, let them clean out. I got the collars on them, and they're running around while me and Taylor are sitting there talking about, okay, we're going to do this, this, and this. And I'm like, all right, it's daylight enough. I'm out of here. So I take off out the side of the mountain, and I get around the mountain a really good way. I mean, several miles, and Forrest's young dog come in above me opening. I don't know what she was doing, but she come in around above me, and I go to gather my dogs up. Well, 2.5 hours later, Heath realizes that I don't have a lead one on me. None. Now, I had 6 dogs, no lead. And I'm thinking to myself at that point in time, like, all right, now, this is going to be a challenge. I always carry double couplers with me. I know you heard me say, I very seldom do I lead a dog. The only time I put a dog on a lead is at the tree, or if something's going on and I don't want them to get away from me. And that's why I was looking for my lead then. I had a couple young dogs there, and I wasn't sure what she's doing, so I didn't want them to go to her. So I needed a lead to put them on. But I carry I carry 2 double couplers and a triple coupler. And I always have 6 dogs, so I can tie 2, 2, and 2 together, and they walk along with me and follow me along. So I didn't have any leads. I grabbed the dogs up, put them on the double coupler. I hooked the triple coupler to the double coupler. I don't know where the other dogs were at. They were down the holler doing something. I know Spook was up there, and maybe, yeah, Bishop and Briggs. That's my young dogs, and I did not want them. If she was running junk, I didn't want them getting there with her and make it worse, right? So I grabbed them up, put them on a doubler, and I'm literally standing there with a double coupler in my hand holding the dogs. And she comes right in above me about 200 yards and goes out the mountain 500. And then she shuts up and turns and she goes right back and she literally went right back to forest. So it all worked out, but I was laughing the whole time. I'm like, next time don't forget your leads. And again, I didn't even need them that day. Like I literally, that's one day that I didn't need them. And I guess the Lord above was looking out for me. He was like, well, we're going to do nothing today. That way you don't have to fight and fuss with the dogs and trying to get them off the tree. And I know we talk about calling them off the tree and everything. Guys, my dogs are not that way. I don't train them to do that at this point, maybe in the future. And I've thought about it. I've brushed it back and forth. I'm just not there yet. So I think George, maybe me and George was talking about this. I put my dogs on, I tie them back. I put them on a lead at a tree. I tie them back. And usually if the bear jumps out and goes on, I can give them 5 minutes, take them 20, 30 yards up the hill, turn them loose and go on about my business. And that's typically what I do. I'll lead them, I'll lead them just a short way, 30, 40, 50 yards off the tree. And then I cut everybody loose and like, come on, let's go. And I don't have that problem, but I give them that time to go from prey drive to settle a little bit, right? Like, trying to fight a dog in prey drive takes your training to a whole new level. So I try to avoid that. But anyway, no leads, didn't need none. I covered about 9 miles that day and I never got a bark, not a bark. So, and I'm having more of those days too. I'll just be honest. I hope everybody's doing better than I am, but I've had a couple of those days since where we've covered 8, 9, 10 miles. Yesterday, it was 13 and a half. And that may not seem like a lot to some people, but for us, that's in the upper range of kind of where we're at. You get to a 14, 16 mile day, that's usually a lot because the road system around where I'm at you just don't have to, right? So you get up to the 16 mile, you're pretty much on the upper end of that spectrum. But yeah, yesterday, Forrest got after one and I tried to get my dogs in there. If I could have got my dogs in there earlier, I think we'd have had a different outcome, but I didn't. It took me a while. My dogs were over on the north of the mountain, piddling around, doing something. I had to pull the top, get them back, and by the time that I got back to his, they were almost a mile away, and I had to catch up. So it was tough. And then once we did get the dogs caught up, they run it, and it was a long day yesterday. That's what it was. It was a long day, and Bear got us. Bear beat us yesterday. Flat out beat us. But that's a part of hunting, right? It's just what it is. So short and sweet today. Like I said, I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas. New Year's is next week. If you're listening to this any point in time between now and then, Merry Christmas. I hope you guys have a Happy New Year. We are going to be at Grand America. So if you guys or girls are going to be at Grand America, look us up. I know me and Jason Doobie and I know Fielder is coming. So we will be around, probably be in Jason's booth if you want to come looking for us. If I don't know you, come and introduce yourself. We'd love to meet you. We'd love to hear your story and hear about your dogs. So Merry Christmas, everyone. And I hope everybody has a great New Year. Do you like to be outdoors like I do? If so, unlock the wilderness with Onyx Maps. It is your ultimate guide to exploring, hunting, and conquering the great outdoors. With detailed maps, real-time tracking, and exclusive access to public and private lands. OnX Maps is your key to adventure. Discover the possibilities and never get lost again with OnX. So subscribe today using the promo code K920. Letter K, number 9, 20, and know where you stand.